Hello everybody and welcome to CFO Conversations. I'm your host Paula Kensington and I have a great pleasure to welcome Rachel White, who is with us today to talk about project management.
Well, thank you, Paula. It's an absolute delight to be here and to join you on CFO Conversations. So in terms of my career, I've had the pretty classic 20-year corporate finance career, including 10 years overseas. For the last 7 years, I have worked predominantly with high growth technology ventures, funded by venture capital, private equity, all of that sort of thing. And in that time, I have learnt a vast amount about inside the operation of a business, how it's funded, how it grows, and also, and probably more importantly, in many respects, what I needed to unlearn from the first 20 years of my career, many of which is now becoming very relevant in the adaptation of the CFO role.
Yeah, and I think it's great to have you here because I think we're all concerned about making sure that we're future-proofed as CFOs, and some people are probably further down that track than others, which is some of the reason why I'm doing CFO Conversations.
Which is great. I'm so glad you are.
Thank you. Today we're going to explore project management, and for those that might get a cold chill down their spine, fear not, because as a CFO, some of us are doing project management and perhaps some of us aren't. And I think in today's ever-changing world that there's so many projects now happening, transformational, change management. If the CFO isn't driving that, then we're losing, we're missing a trick. Yes. So what's your view on how a CFO should be thinking about project management?
I think the first thing is to get beyond the CAPEX budget. Project management and all of its methodologies pretty much grew out of the construction business, which we've been building things for 6,000 years. So we've gotten pretty good at it. And obviously the ROI models, of return on investment models on those building projects are pretty clear. We know how it works, we know the yields, we know all those sorts of things. We've applied those models to service-based industries, which, and to your point on change management, and a lot of that's around productivity and efficiency. What's changed and what's come out of the last 10 years, and much of this came out of Silicon Valley, was something everyone's probably heard of as, they may or may not have heard of, it's called agile project management. Now that's a nice term that gets bandied around, and if you like I can dig into a little more of what it means. But I think a lot of the understanding agile project management techniques is how you move beyond the traditional once a year CAPEX budget, which is often in the past the extent of a CFO's involvement in project management in many respects.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. I think maybe agile projects might be something we come back to in another conversation, but I think from a CFO's perspective, it's about getting good at engaging and leading and driving and asking those questions that nobody else has thought about, or the project manager's sitting there thinking, oh my God, I hope the CFO doesn't ask me about this. And I'm sure you've been on the other end of that.
I have, and a lot of project managers there, in one of their core skill sets is communication, which of course means they're extraordinarily good at presenting things in a way that they know is going to make sense to you. Obviously getting to know them and understanding that agenda is helpful. I know the most successful outcomes I've had with project managers is based on, like anything else in life, built on a relationship of trust. Yeah. And I know I've learned a vast amount from them. And I hope they've learnt a vast amount from me in those interactions. Yeah. So like anything else, it needs to start with that human connection and that relationship. Yeah, it does need to be built on trust. Most project managers are cognizant of the fact that their project needs to deliver a financial return to the business, and they're actually looking to you to help understand what that is. And also to be able to articulate that to the rest of the organisation, because that's actually how they look successful inside the business. Yeah.
And I think as more of us become more driven through operations, it's those people, those project managers, certainly if they're more junior in their thinking, they're looking to us for the answers, they're looking to us for the direction. And I think as CFOs, senior finance leaders, we are becoming more involved in the actual running of projects. And myself, I've actually been out building relationships with the clients because I've actually stopped our project managers giving time away for free. It doesn't take long to go out of business when you do things like that.
Yes.
So project management is all about the CFO taking a really passionate interest and drive for getting great outcomes for the business. So thank you, Rachel.
Thank you, Paula.